Picture this. It is the middle of July. The temperature outside is pushing 100 degrees. You walk into your house expecting cool, refreshing air, and instead, you get nothing, just heat. Stale, suffocating heat. So, you do what anyone would do. You call a repair company. A technician shows up within the hour, pokes around your unit for about 15 minutes, and tells you the refrigerant is completely gone and your compressor is on its last leg. He hands you a quote, $1,500. You panic, you pay it. He does the job and leaves. And then, 2 weeks later, you find out from a second opinion that nothing was ever wrong with your system in the first place. That is not a hypothetical. That is happening to real homeowners across the country right now. And today, we are going to walk through exactly how this scam works, who it targets, what the red flags look like, and most importantly, how you make sure it never happens to you. Here is something worth understanding before anything else. Air conditioning scams are seasonal crimes. They peak in the summer for one very specific reason: desperation. When it is sweltering outside and your cooling system goes down, you are not in a calm, rational headspace. You are hot, uncomfortable, and anxious, especially if you have children, elderly family members, or pets in the home. That emotional state makes people easy to manipulate. Dishonest technicians know this. They know that when someone is sweating through their clothes in their own living room, they are far less likely to ask questions, shop around for a second quote, or take their time reviewing paperwork. They just want the problem fixed. And this is not a small or isolated issue. Consumer protection agencies across the country consistently report that complaints about air conditioning repair fraud spike sharply between May and September every year. The timing is not a coincidence. It is a strategy. Now, let us break down how this actually plays out, because once you see the structure, you will recognize it immediately. Step 1. The bait. Many of these fraudulent companies advertise an almost comically low diagnostic fee, sometimes as little as $20 or $30, to get a technician inside your home. This is intentional. The profit does not come from the diagnostic, it comes from what they tell you is wrong. Step 2. The inspection theater. The technician arrives, usually in a vehicle with a legitimate-looking logo. He checks a few things, maybe takes some readings, and then puts on a very serious face. He starts talking fast, using technical language you probably do not recognize. Words like refrigerant charge, capacitor failure, and compressor blowout get thrown around with great authority. This is designed to make you feel like you are out of your depth, because if you feel out of your depth, you stop asking questions. Step 3. The manufactured crisis. Here is the core of the scam. The technician tells you that your refrigerant, often called by its chemical name or trade name, is completely depleted. Here is what you need to know. Refrigerant does not simply disappear over time in a working system. If a system is genuinely low on refrigerant, that means there is a leak somewhere. A legitimate technician would find that leak, repair it, and then recharge the system. A fraudulent technician skips all of that, or charges you for a leak fix that never happened, and simply says the refrigerant is gone and needs to be replaced. Step 4. The pressure close. The quote comes in high, sometimes shockingly high, and it is delivered with a sense of urgency. We can do this today, but I cannot promise the price holds if you wait. Or, you really do not want to run this unit as is, it could permanently damage the whole system. These are pressure tactics designed to prevent you from doing what you absolutely should do: pause, breathe, and get a second opinion. Step 5. The payment and disappearance. Once the money changes hands, the technician either does a minimal amount of actual work or nothing at all. If you follow up with questions later, the company may be hard to reach, or the technician turns out to be a subcontractor with no accountability to anyone. This type of fraud does not happen randomly. There are specific demographics that these operations deliberately pursue. Older homeowners are disproportionately targeted, largely because they tend to be more trusting of authority figures and less likely to look up reviews or verify credentials on the spot. First-time homeowners are another common target. They are dealing with a system they have never managed before, they do not have a trusted repair person already in their contacts, and they are often afraid of making an expensive mistake, which ironically makes them easier to manipulate into making one. Single-family households where one partner handles all the finances are also vulnerable, particularly when the adult at home during the service call does not feel confident making a major financial decision alone and is pressured to do so anyway. And renters who own their units, in condominiums, for example, often get caught in a gray area where they are not sure who is responsible for repairs and feel rushed to just handle it themselves before things get worse. Here is the good news. This scam leaves tracks. If you know what to look for, the warning signs appear early, often before you have handed over a single dollar. The company does not have a fixed business address. Legitimate repair businesses have a real physical location. If you search the company name and only find a phone number, a website registered recently, and no verifiable address, be cautious. They cannot show you their refrigerant before and after. If a technician claims to be recharging your refrigerant, he should be able to show you the gauge readings before the service and after. Some dishonest operators carry empty canisters specifically to simulate this. If the technician is unwilling or unable to walk you through the readings in real time, that is a serious warning sign. They push for same-day cash payment. Not all cash transactions are scams, but a technician who is reluctant to provide a written invoice, who insists on cash specifically, and who wants payment before you can review any documentation is not operating above board. The quote changes dramatically once they are inside. The low diagnostic fee gets you in the door. But if the technician starts discovering new problems rapidly, especially before doing any real diagnostic work, trust your instincts. Legitimate issues tend to reveal themselves through a methodical process, not through a rapid-fire list of bad news. They cannot or will not show you their state license. In most parts of the country, technicians who work with refrigerants are required to hold a federal certification, and many states require additional licensing on top of that. If a technician cannot produce credentials when asked, walk away. So, what does a safe and legitimate air conditioning service call actually look like? Here is the process you should follow. Before anyone arrives at your home, do your homework. Check the company's reviews on multiple platforms, not just the one they link from their website. Verify their license through your state's contractor license database. Most states have these databases publicly available online. Look for how long the company has been in business. When the technician arrives, ask to see his certification and license before he begins any work. A professional will not be offended by this. It is a completely normal and reasonable request. Ask for a written estimate before any work begins. A written estimate protects you. It tells you exactly what is being done, what parts are being used, and what the cost will be. Do not let anyone start work on your system without one. If the estimate feels high or the diagnosis feels suspicious, say you need a couple of hours to think about it. Then, call one or two other companies for comparison quotes. A legitimate problem will still be a problem in 2 hours. A manufactured crisis will often dissolve when you stop playing along. And finally, before summer arrives every year, have your air conditioning system inspected by a company you already trust. If you know what a healthy system looks like, you will recognize when someone is trying to tell you it is sick. Here is something worth knowing. These operations rarely last forever. Consumer protection agencies, state attorneys general, and local news investigations have shut down dozens of fraudulent repair outfits in recent years. Some operators face civil fines. Others face criminal charges for fraud or unlicensed contracting. A few have ended up on national do not call lists and consumer fraud registries. But they keep popping up, often under new names, with new vehicles, in new cities, because the overhead is low and the profits for a single season can be significant. The best defense is not government enforcement, it is you. An informed homeowner is a terrible target. When you know how the scam works, when you know what questions to ask and what rights you have, the technician who shows up hoping to exploit your panic finds nothing to exploit. So share this video, send it to a parent, a neighbor, a friend who just bought their first home. Because the people who run these scams are counting on the fact that most people do not know what we just walked through together,